and editing your videos for YouTube. Stay tuned, everybody. It's BeLive Weekly. Hey, welcome back, folks. It's BeLive Weekly, where live streamers like you tune in for tips to grow your Facebook Live show. I'm your host, Owen Video, and you can give me 5. That's right, type 5 into the comment section now if you want to reach a bigger, wider audience. Because if you do, then you need to get BeLive right now. What are you waiting for? Discover the power of pro-quality branded live streams that you can dualcast on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. You can bring in multiple guests, get real-time comments and chat with viewers. You can share your screen and play videos. You can even schedule your streams, add lower thirds, upload bumpers, digital graphics, and so much more. You're absolutely going to love BeLive. And if you have never tried it before, then you can get a 14-day free trial right now at epiclivevideo.com. That's epiclivevideo.com. Or if you're ready to buy it, if your free trial's over or you let it lapse, which it never should have done, you can get 30% off by checking out with the promo code OwenVideo down below. Okay, my question for you today is, what is your biggest YouTube question? Let me know in the comment section. And while you're doing that, I want to give a big shout out to all of our friends watching us live on YouTube and for the first time ever watching us on YouTube. We have a massive audience right now on YouTube. Wow. Rob can see it. He knows it. But I want to say what's up to our Facebook Live viewers as well. Denise, it's great to see you. Zachary, thanks for coming. Jerry Wald, my man, Jerry Wald had a stroke and is making a whole show about like stroke recovery. It's a vulnerable show. It's hard to watch sometimes in that he's so real. And I highly recommend making friends with Jerry Wald and watching what he's doing. So glad to have you out there today. Rob Reese, Raul Perez, Danny Monsoon, and Monzon, I should say, right? Is how you say it. And all of our friends, Lisa Brown, Lisa Siegel is out there. We have an amazing guest for you today. Our guest today is Rob Balasabas, who is the brand evangelist at TubeBuddy.com and speaks at various conferences, summits, podcasts, and live stream interviews. Rob and I are friends. We go back a long time. I've known Rob, I've seen Rob at the conferences, and there really are very few people with as much street cred as Rob Balasabas. And so I want you guys to just give a very warm welcome to our guest today, Rob Balasabas, who shares a lot of live streaming tips to help video creators like you succeed. Rob, great to have you on the show today.
Owen, good to have you, man. Always good to hang out, and good excuse is just to go live with you. So
I know, right? Seriously, like that's what we should do more is just go live and talk about stuff.
Yes, let's do it.
But yeah, good to have you.
Good to have you guys here. Sorry, I'm just used to being the host. Good to be here. Good to be here.
It's good to have you here. You know, very rarely do I get to have my YouTube friends on the BeLive show because BeLive has traditionally been a Facebook live streaming software. But with the addition of the YouTube dual casting and YouTube live streaming features, you're now able to use BeLive to live stream onto YouTube. And you've had a lot of success on YouTube. And so I want to talk about that today.
Sure.
And let's just jump right in. And by the way, for those of you still answering the question of the day, I want to hear from you. Let's put that question of the day up one more time. What is your biggest YouTube question? Or even feedback or opinion? I'd love to hear from you. I really would, because you've got two YouTube experts. Rob works at TubeBuddy. I'm a YouTuber. Let's chop it up. So Rob, get us started again by what is a brand ambassador? What is TubeBuddy? What is all what?
Sure.
Huh?
Yeah, what is everything? Yeah. Hey guys, good to be here. Hello to the entire BeLive community. So I'm the brand evangelist here at TubeBuddy. So TubeBuddy is essentially your best friend when it comes to YouTube. So we have over 80 different tools within our platform to help YouTube creators out there grow their channel, manage their channel, sustain everything that's happening inside of their channel. So if you guys want to learn more about it, I'm sure Owen has a link for you guys to check us out. Right now, I think currently we are being used by over I don't know, I think 3 million different channels
Wow.
on YouTube. So so what I do is really the fun job of connecting with our partners, our users, and finding cool ways for them to connect with each other. So that's what I do here. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about your YouTube channel now. Are we talking about your personal YouTube channel, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So no, we're not talking about the TubeBuddy channel, which is a phenomenal channel, but it's different than what we're talking about today. Yes. Rob, on your personal channel, what content did you start uploading and what content are you uploading now?
Yeah, good question. So it's changed a little bit. Actually, it's probably been more focused now. So when I first started, I started my channel October 2018. So almost 2 years ago. And so I know we're talking about how to get to your first 1,000 subscribers. It took me 18 months. From October 2018 till April 2020, that's how long it took to get to 1,000 subscribers. And so the funny thing is that from April to get my next set of 1,000 subscribers, it took only 3 months.
Wow.
And so there's a bit of a snowball effect that's happened on YouTube. I mean, Owen and all the friends of TubeBuddy have mentioned that sort of happens. You know, you kind of gain momentum on YouTube so long as you're consistent. And so yeah, that's really what's happened with my channel. As far as when I first started, it was kind of a mixture of everything. I was just kind of testing things out. I was doing some vlogging, some things at work, some travel stuff when I would go to conferences, different things, interviews, tutorials, and so just a mixed bag of stuff. Whereas now is very much focused on tutorial content. Yeah. So listening to the audience, trying to stay in my lane more and more, kind of go deeper into my lane, my topics, and really just answer questions. And that's try to start building a community on YouTube, which is really important as well.
Do your tutorials all stay on the same topic, or how do you decide like what tutorials you should do and what tutorials would be a distraction from your content strategy?
Yeah. So for the most part, it does stay sort of, I'm trying to be more and more in my lane. Every now and then I would say maybe once a month or twice a month, I would go outside a little bit of my core topics of live streaming, YouTube stuff, so I would talk about different things. Like today I uploaded a video. It's 2 minutes long, and it was just a simple question of how do you pronounce niche or niche,
that's so great.
It's just like,
you're going to get 1 million views on that.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's just, again, just to stay out, like sort of go outside of my space a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, Owen, for sure, like going deep into my topics.
Okay. So why did you make that change from sort of doing whatever you felt like to focusing, I think was your word. Talk to us about that decision.
Yeah, the more that I learned about YouTube, that it's a search engine, that YouTube wants to understand what your channel is about so that they can then, share your videos with people that are more likely to watch your content. Starting to understand this more and more, and still learning. The more that I did that, the more that I focused on topics that I wanted to talk about, that sort of I knew that I was, that I enjoyed talking about and what people were asking me for, the more I noticed that there was more search traffic coming through. There's just more views coming through organically that way. So that's really the reason why I really started to focus on my content and stay in my lane. So doing keyword research, for example, before creating videos, that was a huge turnaround that I probably started, I would say 9 or 10 months ago. Previous to that, I was just creating videos and then doing the keyword research later. And so I would always end up with like a really competitive keyword that, really ended up, the video would go nowhere,
Yeah. So that's interesting. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I believe that keywords are sort of like the last thing that you do. And you're saying that keywords are the first thing that you do. Walk us through, first of all, kind of like what is a keyword and what does that even mean? And then how you use a keyword to decide what video you're going to make.
Yeah. So a keyword is essentially what you focus your video on. So, if you look at anything, if you're searching anything, that's what a keyword is. Keyword phrases as well. It doesn't have to just be a singular, like one word, can be a keyword phrase as well. And so it's what people are searching. Yeah. So it might be because my channel is smaller, my channel is smaller. And so I kind of come up with a lot of competition, with growing my channel, getting my videos really showing up on search. And so I focused on keywords first. Now, as my channel is growing, like I said, I'm testing out things, like videos and topics once a month or twice a month, where the whole keyword strategy kind of goes out the window. And it's just what I want to create and what I feel like, my audience would enjoy.
And do you have like an organization process for that? Like, do you only do videos like that on the 4th week of the month, or do you do them whenever they occur to you? Like, how do you balance what you planned to make versus this idea you just came up with that you're excited about? Like, how do you choose, what am I going to do?
Yeah. I would say I don't have a specific calendar for it. I just know that as far as for my organization, I use a Trello board for ideas. So I have columns for everything, ideas to videos that I want to create that week, to editing, filming, all that stuff. So I use a Trello board for that. You can use other project management tools for that as well to organize your ideas. And for as far as like my own schedule for uploading on my personal channel, I just know that Mondays and Wednesday I upload, and then Fridays I do a live stream, which is just a way for me to connect with my community and do Q&A with my community. So that's typically my cadence, my schedule for the week. With my channel.
Yeah, really cool. Well, I'd love to talk about how you're using live streaming, but we do have a couple questions from the audience. Would you mind answering a few questions with us?
Do it. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so Melissa, go ahead and pop one up. I know we had a couple in there. And we'll just maybe start with Lisa's right up there. Lisa's got a big question, so I'm going to read it for you. She says, I don't have the amount of followers that YouTube requires in order to go live from my mobile phone. And she's having trouble going live from her desktop. Rob, why? Do you know why that is?
Yeah, I think on your mobile phone, you do need a minimum number of subscribers, I think.
Yeah, 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, 1,000 subscribers. I'm not sure. I mean, from your desktop, obviously there's BeLive, there's tons of, so you can, I'm not sure exactly what the trouble might be.
Yeah, it's a tough question, and I'm sort of putting you on the spot, but I would say this, Lisa, I would say this, that, go to your settings on YouTube and make sure that you have live streaming enabled. You even for desktop, you still have to go through a process. And then you need to kind of like look at the stream key and stuff. And so I think that over on the TubeBuddy channel, there's probably some tutorials, or just search, how to go live on YouTube, and you'll find some really fast solutions. Our next question is coming in. It says, hey, we can't go live for more than an hour. What are some of the conditions? That could very well be an internet problem. It could also be a computer speed problem. So make sure that you're working at full speed. Do we have any other questions there coming in? Afla is asking, what do you think, which category is better to gain people's attention, travel vlogs or pranks? That's an interesting question. Rob, what do you think?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, it depends on what you want to grow. It depends on the kind of people that you want to reach. And I think you could grow well with both. Travel vlogs right now, I would think, are a little bit difficult if you're not able to travel as much, obviously, in the time that we're in. But yeah, I mean, you could, they have both potential, but they all also have both sort of hurdles, So, and also think about, definitely connect with Owen with his content. Think about how you want to eventually turn that, channel and use it to create revenue with that type of content. So
great
that's
point.
one thing. You also want to think about the end game a little bit with what you want to do with your content.
Yeah, really good. Like if you're a business channel and you're trying to attract lawyers, doctors, pranks might be a way to go, but I doubt it. At first, I would call that like an experiment. And a travel vlog, I love vlogging, but you can make vlogging a part of tutorials as well. You know what I mean? You can do a tutorial and then do parts of it from a travel location. So great question. And if you have more, be sure to ask them in the comment section. Rob, I want to talk a little bit more about your content strategy and how you're continuing to grow, because you said it took you how long to get 1,000 subscribers?
18 months.
18 months. And then how long to double that?
3 months. 3 months.
3 months. Okay. So how did you go from 1,000 to 1,000? How did you go from 0 to 1,000 subscribers? What were the milestones that you passed along the way? Did you get stuck anywhere? Share your process, that 18-month process with us.
Yeah, I would say that probably between when I would say it kind of just grew on its own till about 60 subscribers, enough relatives and friends and some coworkers.
Yeah,
and stuff,
exactly.
And so that was like, okay, at some point now, then we need to get to, actually do this and reach strangers, get people to catch my channel. So I would say that was kind of point where I was like, okay, well, how does YouTube actually work, at 60 subscribers? And then, just understanding and playing. That's when I started testing out different content types. And, the first, I would say, man, till between 60 to about 500, 600, it was a grind. I mean, it was just like, let's test this and at the same time, like try to figure out editing software. And
so give us an example of testing this. Like when you say test this, I know what you mean because we're in the space and we both study. What do you mean by that, and how can our audience take advantage of that?
Yeah. So I would say there's a number of things when I say test. So test a vlog versus a tutorial, or test an interview versus a vlog, test my intro, something shorter versus something longer, different things like that, sharing the screen, what tools to use to share your screen.
Yeah, talking head versus B-roll, and like how many images, sound effects. Like for example, if you wanted to have sound effects, that could feel really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sound effects, music, background music. I would always I would use different music and people would be like, oh, it's too loud. Like I can't understand what you're saying. So then, all right. So rather than 30%, let's lower it down to 20% volume, so
that's so
again,
good.
I don't give a rat's behind what you feel.
There we go. Got it. It's working now. So I had a joke lined up for that earlier, but it didn't necessarily work out there. But there we go. See, sound effects, folks. Sound effects are they're back in action. But you're right. But you could also similarly you make a video. Let's say you make a tutorial and it does really well. You make a vlog and it doesn't do well, and so you're sort of learning that your audience likes tutorials, or at least that tutorials are working right now. Talk a little bit more about that process. Like, getting after 60, like, did you go steadily? Did you have any videos that popped and just like got you a ton of subscribers or anything like that?
Yeah, there was a video in the early days because I would say about a year ago, like LinkedIn Live started to become really popular, and so started to do some LinkedIn Live, and so I'd get questions about it, and so I think one of the things when you get on top of like trending topics, it's very key. Like it's really powerful when you get on top of a topic that a lot of people start talking about. And you talk about TikTok, and so you start to become this like sort of like this go-to person for TikTok for a lot of YouTubers, right? So you get on top of these trends and sort of like create momentum by being the first person to have some type of video around it. And so that's kind of what happened with LinkedIn and LinkedIn videos, and not just LinkedIn Live, but just how to grow LinkedIn using videos, because LinkedIn started really doubling down on, sharing out and organically growing through videos there. And so early days, there's a couple of LinkedIn video tutorials that really popped. And so that's when I started less and less vlogging, because again, I started to understand like, okay, think about the viewer. Did they come here for tutorials, or did they come here because they want to know where you go for meetups and conferences and stuff? And so less and less that became the thing. So I just started focusing on tutorials. And so, I would say around 400 or 500 subscribers, started to focus on tutorials. And that really started to, sort of grow the channel.
How long does it take for a video to, take off? Do you look for like, oh, I get 1 million views on the first day? Or do you upload and like 2-3 weeks down the line, like this will start to pop? Like what's sort of that timeline, that lifeline of a video in your estimation?
Yeah, it's different. That's something I'm still learning, Owen. So I would say for me in the first day or probably first 48 hours, I kind of get an idea of how good this video is, like how well received it is. Some videos have surprised me. It started to sort of pick up a couple weeks later, some even a month or two later. So again, it depends on when things pick up on that topic. But usually in the first 48 hours, I kind of realized like, okay, that was a good video. And you can kind of see that in your analytics, you can kind of see how it's ranking versus other videos on your channel.
But it will continue to grow. Like you don't hit your max views in 48 hours, right? Like you might, I've noticed that I'll hit my max views, like not my max views, but I definitely like hit the peak at around 2 months. of
Yeah.
the video. Talk a little bit about that, about the power of YouTube versus Facebook, where the video sort of disappears after 3 days. But on YouTube, it sort of lasts forever. Talk a little bit about the longevity of a YouTube video.
Yeah. No, that's a really good question, Owen. Because again, I mentioned LinkedIn. So I started really during this time, I was probably more active on LinkedIn and really growing my personal brand on LinkedIn, and which opened up a ton of opportunities and different things. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I gravitated to creating more content on YouTube, because the shelf life of a video and a piece of content on LinkedIn was fairly short. You know, I would say maybe a couple weeks. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm putting this much effort into creating videos. How do I get more shelf life out of this content and the effort that I put in? So YouTube became the thing. So even now, Owen, like there's videos from like 18 months ago when I first started, tutorials that people are still like commenting. You know, I created a video, I think, on like 30 different topics that you can talk about in a LinkedIn video. And people are still commenting at least like a couple a day, like, hey, thanks, you know, I've got some ideas now. Like, so yeah, definitely the longevity and shelf life on YouTube is super powerful.
That's fantastic. We have some questions coming in from the audience. I want to ask those questions to you in just a moment, but if you guys have questions, please ask them in the comment section. Tom is saying, can I ask Rob a more detailed question? Absolutely. Just type it in, and we'll get to those, Melissa, in 1 second. I want to ask Rob one more question. So if you guys have any audience questions, type them in now, because we're going to come right back to it. But Rob, you mentioned that you use live streaming on YouTube. Talk to us about how did live streaming on YouTube help you to double your subscribers?
Yeah, so two answers to that, two pieces. So I would say first, it's a really awesome, super easy way to get organic sharing, because every time I would live stream, I would usually not do it by myself. I would usually have a guest join me. So similar to what we're doing now. And so Owen, you know, like when Owen invited me, he sent me some like images and like links to the scheduled live. So I started sharing that, and also TubeBuddy started to share that. So now there's some new eyeballs, hopefully, to this live stream from TubeBuddy, from my channels. And so that really happens. So I would do that on a weekly basis, right? So I would invite different, you know, experts and guests, and I would usually schedule that ahead of time. We would go live on Facebook and YouTube, and I would just get new audiences coming to me that are typically the target viewers that I would like to be subscribing to my content, that would be interested in my content. So yeah, I looked at the analytics that the live stream actually helped. Like they would get there through the live stream. That's sort of the gateway to my channel. And then they would stick around and watch other content and videos, and then, you know, eventually subscribe to my channel. So it's a good sort of like lead magnet, I suppose, sort of top of funnel awareness for new audiences. And yeah, so again, really easy way to get new eyeballs to your channel that way.
Now, when live streaming on YouTube, not a lot of people know this, but Rob and I, we go back, right? But live streaming can actually hurt your channel growth, because, you know, if you're uploading 10-minute videos and people are watching 50% of that videos, that's 5 minutes of watch time. And that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good if you can get all the people to watch half your video. But with live streaming, you might do an hour, 2 hour, just a live stream going on, and people might not watch as much, or they watch a higher percentage. Can you talk a little bit about the strategy of live streaming on YouTube? Because it's different than it is on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about two different types of live streams that I do on my personal channel. So the first one is sort of the one that you see more regularly, which are the interview type live streams. So kind of like what Owen's doing here. So right now, I actually learned this from Owen, because then in the early days of live streaming with guests, it would be very random conversations. The introduction was kind of weak. It would just be very random. And so, you know, Owen has this, I mean, Owen, I'm sure you can share this, but there's a run of show. So thinking about like the run of show and treating it like making sure you pay attention to the replay viewer. And so if you pay attention to Owen's live streams, he pays attention to the replay viewer, because that's where most of the views are going to come from on YouTube. And Facebook and wherever else you're live streaming. So really doing that so that I can keep that video public, and you can see that on my channel. You'll see different interviews, and there's an introduction. It looks like a recorded video rather than just a live stream. Right. And so paying attention to that, be very concise, leaving the Q&A till the end so that you don't alienate the replay viewer. And then the second type of live stream that I do on every Friday on my channel is just Q&A. And so a lot of people will actually tell you not to keep those public, but I keep them public. There's an awesome creator on YouTube named Diana Gladney. And so,
I love Diana. Yeah, she's great.
She's awesome. She's awesome. And so she does this. I actually kind of learned it from her. And she keeps it public because she wants to let you know, as a new viewer, even though it might hurt your channel a little bit, she wants the new sort of subscriber to understand and know that, hey, every Friday, this is what you can expect. I live stream every Friday. You have access to me every Friday. Come and join us. And it's a way to build community. So it's something that you kind of have to weigh out for your own channel, but build your community, rather than like maybe focusing on sort of the watch time and stuff like that.
Why would you unpublish or hide a live stream?
Yeah, so you would unpublish. Yeah, so this is, again, another thing you may consider. There's lots of live streamers out there that will pop up live. I've done this before. Also, like every now and then, I'll just randomly pop up and like talk about something that's, that's sort of like trending, or answer some questions, or even talk about an event that's coming up or something like that. And so I usually, if I think about it, like if the replay viewer really isn't going to enjoy this piece of content, if it was really just geared towards the live viewer, then I wouldn't delete the video from my channel, but I would just unlist it. So that way, it's not counting towards sort of like my numbers.
Great distinction there between deleting a video and unlisting a video. And if I could be so bold, our good friend Justin Brown, who has made some videos about BeLive on YouTube, and has shared with me that he's seen some advantage to having really a library of live stream Q&As that are unlisted on your channel, because you're still getting tons of watch time on those videos. So there's a lot of power, I think, in doing Q&As and also in doing sort of these in-depth webinars or workshops that wouldn't be ideal for scrolling on YouTube, but you could embed on your website or make in a highly trafficked blog, or even, download as a free offer. So people are watching this and you're getting all this watch time on your channel from unlisted videos that people, they don't drag down your channel as much. Really good. Rob, let's talk about video content creation, because how often do you upload videos?
Twice a week. I try to.
What? Dude.
Once or twice a week.
Wow. That's like Mega Man. Are you kidding me? I'm lucky if I get half a video done in a week. Like not live streaming. Live streaming, I'm set up to get up, but 2 a week is absolutely fantastic. You obviously need a large bucket of ideas to pull from in order to know what 2 videos you're going to make. Talk us through that process. Like you said, you have a Trello board. How do you know what videos you're going to make? And then how do you keep fresh ideas coming?
Yeah, the ideas are, once I started creating videos, the ideas just really flowed in from comments. So pay attention to your comments, pay attention to the questions that people are asking in the comments. I mean, once they watch a video, you want to answer their question in the video, but hopefully your video kind of opens up their mind to the idea of whatever it is you're talking about, that it then incites other questions. Yeah. So, you don't want it to just be like, here's it, it's done. Like this thing is done. Hopefully they have other questions. So really pay attention to your comments. That's really the best way to get more ideas. It's just your audience is really building your channel for you once you sort of hone into your target viewer audience there.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Now that brings me to my next question, which is, you've got a family, right?
Yes.
How do you make videos consistently without getting burned out?
Yeah, it's a good question. Good question. I just block it off on my calendar. Oh, and so I would say,
every day, same time, every week, like boom, or.
Yeah. So Monday afternoons and then Tuesday afternoons is sort of like my personal YouTube channel time, and spend time like looking through my Trello board, which ideas, and then scheduling them out. Again, one of the things, I'm not as scattered with the types of videos that I create, other than like the once a month sort of random videos. But for the most part, tutorials is like, I've got a checklist and sort of like a script, kind of the same thing that you do for your run of show. What's the hook, what's the introduction, the value points, and then the outro and call to action. And then just fill it out. It's just like rinse and repeat based on the topic that I'm talking about. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this: you've doubled your subscribers. You've reached. They say the first 1,000 is the hardest, And then after you reach the first 1,000, you doubled it. If you had to start all over right now, what would you do differently?
If I was to start over right now, I would, man, it's hard to get away from the testing phase, right? So testing out different types of, videos. I would probably, the first thing what I would definitely do is do keyword research first. And just understand where do these topics really, fit on YouTube, and where's my best opportunity, for YouTube, So I would definitely do that first. I wouldn't overthink a lot of the production value, try to figure out lights and all that stuff. I mean, that stuff will just come naturally. You're going to be thinking about it constantly. But I think that there's a lot of weeks in my early days on YouTube where I was like, I didn't create a video because I was kind of blocked by like, oh, I don't have the right lights, or, I don't have lights and it's already nighttime and I can't look out the window to get natural light, things like that. And I really overthought a lot of the production value. In the early days, there's not that many people watching you, right? In all honesty. And so you can just kind of not worry too much about the production value. So those two things, keyword research and just record, start creating.
Yeah, I remember you in the early days. You put a lot of effort into production value, and I thought, and not that you don't get me wrong, you have a great set. I mean, look at his set right now. We've got that blue glow on the back wall, and you have the brilliantly bald head to emphasize that. So it's kind of like that's all stuff that you can do once and move on with, right? Yeah. Everything else, you've really become more streamlined, and that's I think been a big advantage. Kim O'Neill is asking, what's the best place or the best website to do keyword research?
Well, head over to TubeBuddy.com. Well, Owen has a link for you guys. Obviously, I'm a little biased, so that's what I use. So we've got an awesome keyword explorer tool. And also back to the point of how do you get ideas? A lot of the times, Owen, I'll do keyword research and I'll sort of uncover and discover other topics. If I was like to talk about live streaming, it kind of makes suggestions like, hey, this is really competitive, but these are some related keywords that you can try. And I'll discover some like really good opportunity keywords through just the research alone. So
talk to us a little bit about how you use TubeBuddy. Like how does that work out? Because that's what I use. I use TubeBuddy pretty much dedicated because I don't want to get confused with like different apps and this app says this and this app says that. I'd rather like use TubeBuddy and then really get to know it. It's very, very comprehensive. What I tend to do is I look for videos that I'm searching for that I'm already going to make. Like I said, I use keyword research at the end of my process. So what I do is I've already made the video, and now I'm going to kind of like look at what videos or what keywords are best going to fit what I've already made, if any at all. It might be that my topic is just not a keyword topic. So I go to find videos that are like mine and see what keywords they're using, and that might affect my title. What's your process like, Rob?
Yeah, so mine is, maybe it's because my channel's a little smaller, is I actually do all the keyword research. I craft the title and everything already because I already know what I'm going to say in the video, because then I'm making my sort of like bullet point script already. And so I usually do that all first, and then I record and do everything else. And then when I upload, I've got all the tags already. I've got the title, the description, it's all set up. And so that process just becomes, it's already done, front loaded. All the work is done. So other than the keyword explorer, I would say even at the size of my channel right now, it's just like a little over 2,000 subscribers. I get anywhere from, I would say, 15 to 20-ish comments on a daily basis. And so I use the canned response tool inside of TubeBuddy. And then also the split testing thumbnails. So thumbnails are huge. I'm learning a lot from you.
The split testing feature. Wow. Yeah. So good. So good. All right. We've got some questions coming in right now. I want to talk with Skip LaCour, who asks, how much would you say is learned skill and how much is luck? Too many experts make it like it's black and white.
Yeah, there's a lot, I would say, in my opinion. From my experience, there's a lot that is out of your control, right? So when it comes to YouTube, there's so many parts to it. There's obviously the YouTube algorithms. There's trending, what's trending right now out there, and so you can only control, like you can only do what you can control, right? And so
Yeah.
a lot of that I think is, a lot of the things that I have is learned skill, editing, what you say, how you say it, how you come off camera, all those things. That's a lot of it's learned skill, but there's a lot of it that is sort of unknown, and it's just you put it out into YouTube, and just depends on how it's taken, how the audience takes it, and receives your content. And it's just back and forth, just learning.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, we've got another question. Amaka is saying, what do you use for your backgrounds? Now, I think we had a question come up about my background a little bit earlier. I'm actually using a real TV. So this is a beautiful Costco television set that I have a desktop screensaver on. And this is just a plain white wall, a white wall, and like you would find any drywall. And we've got some curtain over here. I'm using a very small amount of space. Rob, what about you? Let's go to shot of you here.
Yeah, I've got a really small space as well. This is in our condo. So I would say, 15 by 15 room. The light that you guys see behind me is just a blue light. So it's like this from Amazon. So it's the brand is right there, Newer. So there's different filters that you can put in there, red, orange, whatever you want. And that's the background. So other than that, it's just a white wall. And so wanted to put something there. It's something I'm trying to figure out. It's trying to figure out the background.
I think part of it is like also just like making a commitment to it. You know what I mean? And like I've changed my background so many times. When we finally came here, I was like, I'm just not going to change this anymore. I'm just going to do this for a year and then put all of my ideas sort of in a pile for later. Okay, so Thomas Babiak is asking. Then we got a question from Ed Weinberg as well. Let's see. And then we've got another question from Kim O'Neill. I'm trying to get to... Thomas is saying, I'm a fitness coach and I love pro wrestling. How would you put the two together since most wrestling fans don't seem to exercise Great question. I get that. So it's like, here's what you do and here's what you love. Can I blend them together? I have some thoughts on this, but Rob, let's start with you. How would you blend those things together?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I didn't even know that a lot of wrestlers don't like to work out. You wouldn't think, but
if there's workout, you know what I mean? Like you want to like keep your weight and stay thin. Like my son and I, we wrestle, we do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and stuff like this. So I totally get that, but go ahead, please.
Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely see about like what is out there right now. Is there anything like this happening on YouTube? I would definitely look there. And again, like try to be in that scenario of like sort of like what type. I'm not even sure what type of wrestling. Is it like WWE wrestling or is it like pro wrestling?
Oh, good question. I think it's pro wrestling. So it's probably a little bit more theatrical.
Theatrical, yeah. So like almost that's what they like to watch. So probably be in that scenario, if you've got, and then do your workouts that way. And what they'd be interested in. But that's probably where you go. How about you?
Thomas is saying that the pro wrestling fans don't work out. I get that. It's kind of like football fans, right? Football fans played football, maybe, in high school, but today they're eating chips, drinking beer, watching football, and that's right on. If that's your thing, right on. I think that the thing to do, because you're a fitness coach, is to share your love of wrestling through your content. So for example, if we can go full screen on me, I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually got started with YouTube because of...
I don't give a rat's behind what you feel.
Because of Judge Judy. I was on the Judge Judy show, and so we've made her a part of our story by memifying her, and we sort of come back to her. I think you could do the same thing on your channel where you're talking about fitness and you're saying things like, it could be really simple, like, you ever done a workout and the next morning you wake up sore? And I'm talking sore. I'm talking like someone just broke a chair over my back sore. And then you cut to a clip of like Hulk, forgive my lingo, but Hulk Hogan, like, smashing a chair over somebody. So that it's not like intrinsic to the content plan, but it's more about your personality and sharing your love with people. So you could make analogies. You say, the fitness tip I'm going to show you today is, more exciting than when Ultimate Warrior won the championship in 1994, whatever. And you show a picture of Ultimate Warrior, right? So it becomes about you and not necessarily appealing to pro wrestling fans. Does that make sense, Thomas? I feel like that's actually really, really great advice. So
That's good
forgive
advice.
the arrogance, but I'm there for it. Lisa Brown is asking, what is the best mic to use? Wow, that's a great question. What is the best mic to use?
Man, that is a really good question. When I first started for probably the first year and a bit, I just use a headset like this one.
Just on a mobile phone, or are you on you're on your
on my webcam, using the webcam. That's like the early days of my videos. You'll see webcam with a headset.
Got it.
That's
so
it.
you weren't using that mic then. You're not you at that time you weren't using the mic you're using right now.
No, wasn't using this the Yeti. Nope. Got this, I would say, a few months ago. And yeah, so just use what you have. Use at least a headset, I would say.
Yeah, really, really good. I would say first things first is you got to like separate between like a this kind of mic and a lavalier mic or a pin-on mic. Like I would kind of count your headphones. A headset is kind of a unique thing, but I've actually worn my headset without putting my earbuds in. So I would actually put just using the microphone feature, but I would call that a lavalier. Like, do you want to be separate? Do you want to be able to walk away and move around, or do you want to be sort of restricted to this? Because look, I'm sort of restricted to the microphone on this, but we choose this mic because of the sound quality, right? So when I film my YouTube videos, though, I use my lavalier. So it's just a whole different way of doing things. So something to think about. There. Okay, Ed O'Neill. Okay, if we put more than 3 hashtags in our YouTube video description, does that do anything? I noticed only the top 3 show at the top. So what is sort of the hashtag strategy, Rob, on YouTube?
Yeah, so for the TubeBuddy channel, which is this is what I've learned from Andrew Can on our channel. Just the 3 hashtags. YouTube only shows 3, so we only put 3. And wherever you put it in your description, it'll show up on the top of your videos anyway. So we usually put at the very bottom. We want to make sure that we focus on keyword stuff on the top of the description. So we just put every video. You'll notice it's always at the bottom 3 hashtags.
Yeah, really good. So Ed Weinberg's got a great question. Ed says, what would you do if you had 3 different types of videos that you plan to make? Would you put them on the same YouTube channel, and how would you name it?
Yeah, so 3 types of videos. So 3 different types of videos. Yeah, again, Ed, if you want, you can just put all of them in one channel. If you want to grow, if you want to grow your channel quickly, then you need to understand, is that a video that, whoever subscribed to the channel, would they be interested in that video? So if the topics are quite far apart, then you may need to consider, and I would definitely suggest that you consider probably starting a second channel if that's a topic that you want to talk about. Yeah,
and I don't even know that that's like something that you want to do, because starting a second channel is like having a second child. It's not. It's like in your mind you think, it's I'll just do this and I'll just keep it all together. But it's 2 very separate, very individual channels that need you're spending double the time now. And so, Ed, I know that Ed's in real estate. A couple things that I want to say about this is that you should not be putting videos about how to change your car's oil on your YouTube channel about your real estate company. Okay, that's big. When we talk about different types of videos, we could be talking about like, but I love auto and I want to share that on my channel. That's a big no-no. And I think that, they say that jazz music is just as much about the notes not played, right? Sometimes on your YouTube channel, it's about the videos you decide not to do, right? So in the very beginning, Rob and I both experienced this. I was putting anything and everything. I talk about social media content one day, and then the next day I would like upload literally me changing the key code on my digital thing. Like, this is how you change a key code on a door timer. And it was just because at the time I thought people are only going to see these if I like send them out or if they search for the words. But YouTube made a big shift, and now they really are looking for content houses. They want to know like what your expertise is. And so the trick is, if you're going to do a real estate channel and you've got, I want to do tutorials, I want to do walkthroughs, and I want to do, live streams, that makes sense. Right. But to say I'm a real estate agent and I'm going to do walkthroughs and then I'm going to do home tours. And then on Friday nights, I'm going to do some singing because I grew up singing and I love to sing. That to me would be a mistake. Like that would be something you don't want to do, even though it might sound fun and frilly. that's not how YouTube works. And so I wouldn't recommend. If you want to sing, I'd actually use Facebook Live or YouTube Live, but not from the real estate channel, right?
Or
Does
TikTok.
that make sense? Yeah, go to TikTok, start a whole new thing, and I'll tell you, I love TikTok for getting it out there. Aaron Garcia is saying, when naming your channel, would you use your name or something like a business name? Wow, great question, Aaron.
Great question. Yeah, these are really good questions. I would say it's what you want your brand to be. So obviously TubeBuddy is TubeBuddy because that's the business. For my channel, it is my name because it's me. It's my channel. It's every video is most likely going to show me, and I don't have any plans to scale it and hire a team to start creating videos on it and stuff like that.
Right.
So it just depends on what the brand is going to be.
Yeah, and Aaron, in your case, because I know you, I would definitely call it the Spiritual Awakening, or what your business. I'm not sure of your business name. I would definitely call it that. And the reason for that is that if you went with Aaron and Veronica, then it doesn't say much, right? Aaron and Veronica, what? Like parenting channel, couples channel, coaching channel, or is it a father-daughter thing? When you're able to say, you're awakening, now you're putting context on it, and then you're introducing yourself inside the video. So that's where I would go. And if I had to do it all over again, I would probably call my channel something different than Owen Video, because Owen Video is sort of like a personality, right? Like, I'm talking about live, I'm talking about YouTube, and you're going to see us talking about all sorts of other things. And I'm sort of like limited now by building a YouTube channel that's all about YouTube coaching, right? So I would have done it a little bit differently. A great example is the late, great Grant Thompson, who a phenomenal YouTuber and passed away tragically a year or two ago. But before he passed, he was already transitioning his channel. His channel was called The King of Awesome. It's still called, or The King of Random. The King of Random. He was already transitioning a new person into that role. And so the channel has continued, even though Grant has left us, and that still supports his family. So it's something to think about. Thomas is asking, what do you think of the name Barbells and Body Slams? I really like it. Yeah, I really like it. Like, I like it as a YouTube name, but does it say fitness instructor? I don't know about that. Okay, let's see. We had a couple other questions coming in. Oh, Mary Barnett, my good friend. Mary, and then Skip LaCour has a question.
Oh, hey, Mary.
Mary is saying, my niche is helping restaurants grow a list of hungry, happy customers. I was thinking about going to restaurants to interview them about how they promote their restaurants, but then COVID happened, so delayed that. On still serving them and making a YouTube channel. Yeah, Mary, I'll tell you right now, that I don't think is the right direction for you. I think the right direction for you is for you to grow a channel about how to grow your restaurant. I do. If you help restaurants get customers, then that's what you should be doing, right? Now, you could integrate testimonials and things, but I would never recommend that you put a video testimonial on your channel. You should instead put an entertaining or educational video on your channel that includes a customer testimonial in it. But I would say if you're coaching restaurants and how to get customers, I think you should be making videos that are teaching them a little bit about what you actually do. Rob, your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Try to address the benefit of how can restaurants make money and how to get more customers, and then sort of weave in the interviews and the testimonials along that. That's great.
That's fantastic. Esther Stevens is saying, oh, here we go. Skip LaCour. If I were to invest in TubeBuddy, would you leave the videos that are working alone and just work on older videos? I want to avoid moving backwards. What are your thoughts? Great question for the TubeBuddy ambassador, Rob Ellis.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, great question, Skip Liqueur. Yeah, so I would definitely leave the videos that are working alone. So videos that are getting views, that are getting, all the view like suggested and search and all that stuff. Leave those alone. The ones that aren't, that are kind of stale and like for a long time have no views or no activity. Then think about changing up the title, the description, the tags. Use the tools that TubeBuddy has to do that.
Yeah, and I would never go backwards, man. Like always move forward. I will retitle and re-thumbnail an older video more like as practice or to get it to fit into my new branding. So, and I never do it with videos that are ranking and still getting views and comments. I just don't even touch those, right? I just let the turkey bake, folks. Yeah. Don't wreck what's working. You know what I mean? Lily Tree logging in. Great to see you out there. Lily Tree. Oh, and look, we've got like we are cooking with a little spice. We've got Money 360. Nice. That's great. We've got Made from Scratch and Christy. I'm sorry, guys. We had a whole audience watching us on YouTube, and I missed them for a little bit there. We're glad to see you guys here. We got another question that popped up. I saw something about a Mike Echo or Lisa Brown is saying, I do talk show interviews. How can I translate that onto YouTube to get subscribers?
I do talk show interviews. How do I translate that onto YouTube to get subscribers? Yeah, I mean, definitely like schedule it ahead of time, right? That way you can promote it on your other social platforms. Promote it on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere else. That drives them to your YouTube live show. And then that way, that's where everything is happening, and then once you've done interviews, then look at ways to take little clips of that interview and then share it on your other channels. Yeah. And then that way people kind of see what they missed and then like let them know like, hey, my next interview is this, next week. Catch us live there. So
yeah, really, really good. I would agree 100%. Jerry Wald is saying, I host my stroke show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't get many views on YouTube, but I get views on Facebook. What should I do to grow my views on YouTube?
Yeah, so I would think if you're doing them both on YouTube and Facebook, and you're not getting the views on YouTube, then I would think of doing some type of live stream on YouTube alone that is exclusive that they can't see on Facebook. That way, there's a reason for them to go to your YouTube channel. So it could be like the same thing. It could still be it's the entire show, but then maybe the post show or the Q&A only happens on YouTube, something like that. Yeah. There's exclusive content on YouTube, so that they have to go there.
Yeah, really good. We had a question about getting an echo in a microphone. Echo, I can't find the question, but echo is almost always solved by buying a mixer. Just buy a mixer, and you may want to play with some of the muting features inside of BeLive as well. Got a great, I love Mary's thing. Oh, that was Esther. So Esther, I double heard his voice. Get yourself a mixer. That'll solve pretty much any problem that you're having. You get mixers for $100, even less, that fit right on your desk. So I want to go back to Mary Barnett came back and she said, no, Owen, you weren't listening. She says, you're obsessed with yourself, Owen. But she said, that's not what I was asking. And I'm kidding, Mary. Of course, I love you to death. Mary is saying, I was talking about making a YouTube video for my customers who are restaurants. Look, here's the thing, Mary. Food is restaurants. Restaurants is food, okay? There is not, a restaurant should be doing food videos. This is how you make, this is what's in our Chinese chicken salad. This is like beer tips, right? Like how about a weekly video on this beer and what it's made up of and like beer talk or clam chowder talk, like your clam chowder recipe. When we're looking for a restaurant to go to, that's what we're looking for, or pictures of food or testimonials from like, we had a great experience here, but I don't want to watch a video on like a commercial for a restaurant, right? I want to watch content. And so that's really key because I've worked with a bunch of restaurants who have never moved forward. And it's a shame because so many restaurants are closing right now, and it's sad to see that. If you had started a YouTube channel 3 years ago, you'd have AdSense revenue coming in. You might have product deals. You'd still have ways, like a more effective way of reaching your audience. And you have something else there. And so I love what you're doing, Mary. And that's the advice that I would give you. Alina Smith is asking, I'm about to start a podcast called Queen City Chat. I love it. And I'm going to interview small business owners. networking events, and any suggestions on the way by doing that. Yeah, I would say this, Alina, and then Rob, I'm going to ask you, as you're developing your like who you're going to interview, make sure that you have a framework for those interviews, right? Make sure that you're like, okay, I'm going to, like, what happens a lot is people say, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to interview the people that I know or that I can easily get an interview with. And the problem is this guy talks about topic A, that guy talks about topic B, topic C, like, and you're all over the map and YouTube doesn't know what you're making videos about. Where I would instead take an approach like, I'm going to interview business owners about their biggest challenges. And so everybody that you interview has sort of been asked the same question and it's all around the same topic. And so you have a category there, right? So I'm going to talk to small business owners about, you know, how they made their first million or whatever the case might be. So make sure that those interviews are pre-scheduled, first of all. Like, never like hope to get an interview unless it's like a famous person. So plan them, but then also like have a structure for them. And if you do your interviews right, you might be able to do one interview, but get enough footage for like 3 videos. Rob, your thoughts on how to run a channel like that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Make it like episodic, I think is the word. So like around, you know, like you've got 5 guests that are going to be speaking on the same topic, but maybe they come from different angles. You know, one is like a solopreneur, one is like a small business, one is like a huge company, you know, if you can get that kind of thing. So, yeah, I totally agree. You know, sort of surround it around that topic. One topic.
Fantastic. Rob, how do we stay in touch with you and learn more from you?
Yeah. Anywhere at TubeBuddy. I'm somewhere behind the scenes there. And also just copy and paste my name on social media. You'll find my channel, my LinkedIn, Instagram.
Rob asked a great, Ed asked a great question. He said, how do you pronounce Balasabas?
Yeah, there you go. You said it. Balasabas. There it is.
I love it. So it's Balasabas. So it's more of the ah sound at the end. I go with the ah sounds. Okay, that's Rob, okay, great to have you on the show. And thank you guys for watching. It's been a pleasure to be here with you today. And we'll see you next week on BeLive Weekly.